I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. I would hope not. I don't even know what to do. Like, what do you mean? Like, when the Leafs win, you do a thing in your video. Like, you do a thing. You have a thing.
Oh yeah, what was that thing?
It's something with your arms.
Yeah.
It's like that.
I don't think I've been doing that for like how many years.
It's like your Leafs win. Something like,
We can just go back and watch.
you're gonna have to scroll. Let's go! It starts with an A and ends with anxiety. Off the charts levels of passion. That's just a nightmare.
With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Oh, I remember now.
Leafs win! 2-1 in overtime over the Columbus Blue Jackets.
And I think that means something.
Victory, puppy! The Leafs finally reached their 10th win of the season. I'm donating $20 to the Humane Society of Durham Region for every win. So tonight I'm going to send $200 to the Humane Society of Durham Region. I encourage you to match that, but it doesn't have to be to Durham Region. That just happens to be where I live. Or consider a donation to my Movember page, because there's so little to grab. There's not much time left in Movember, and the SDPN guys and I are trying to beat Michael Pezzetta, and he is currently whooping our bottom. And by the way, I should probably promote the fact that we interviewed Michael Pezzetta on the Steve Dangle podcast on Monday. It was great, and he's great. Leafs won this game. Let's talk about it. So here's the thing. I think you're going to look at the sum results of this game, and like there's a few lazy ways to view this game. Number one, you're going to look at the shots overall and be like, oh, the Leafs must have been bad in this game. And it's partially true. They were bad for a bit of this game. Or you're going to just be like, you know what? A win is a win, and I don't care. Hooray, team. I tend to side with a win is a win, hooray, team. Because when you're last place in the conference, you don't get to be picky about wins. And to give you an idea of how tight the Eastern Conference is, yeah, I'm cheesed about the Leafs being last in the Eastern Conference too. Oh wait, whoa, wait. With that win, the Leafs move up to second last in the Eastern Conference. 2 points behind Florida. What? Yeah, it's tight in the East. Okay, anyway, all that to say, the Leafs have a record of 10-10-3, which isn't good, but I'm not sure it's bad enough for second last in the conference. That's Bettman 500. Do you want an idea of how many overtime and shootout games there have been league-wide this season? There are 32 teams in this league. How many of those 32 teams do you think have fewer wins than regulation losses? So we're not counting overtime and shootout losses. How many teams have fewer wins of any kind than regulation losses? After the Leafs won this game, the answer's 5, which means 27 out of the league's 32 teams are 500 or better, which is a lie, because that's impossible. I'm pretty sure if the bottom 5 teams lost every single game combined, that would be impossible. The Leafs and the Oilers are dead even. Buffalo, St. Louis, Vancouver, Calgary, Nashville are the only teams with fewer wins than regulation losses. On one hand, the Leafs have to knock out 5 teams in order to move into the final wildcard spot in the East. On the other hand, the Leafs are now 3 points back. Has this season gone well? No. Has the record been good? No. Have they even looked good while achieving said bad record? No. And yet, this is why almost nobody's selling right now. Nashville and Vancouver, those are the only 2 teams that have basically said anything about being open for business. Everyone else still has a shot. Like a good shot, like a you're one hot week away shot. And I'm trying to have a ton of optimism in this video because there hasn't been very much this season. And part of the frustration is, guys, you're screwing it up and you don't need to be. You're right there. Here's the good news coming into this game. The Leafs got an entire forward line back. Nick Waugh, Matthew Nyes, Austin Matthews, all back in the lineup. Blue Jackets do get Zach Werenski back, but they don't have Marchenko. This game is yours for the taking. I saw Max Domi was moved to the wing and I was like, a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year! You have a beautiful voice. Thank you. Nyes, Matthews, Domi. Like it was always meant to be from day one, with Domi on Matthews' right wing, where he has had success! Because he's not an NHL center! I don't care how many people are hurt, stop playing him there! Anyway, Tavares with Willie and Easton Cowan, big opportunity for the kid. Robertson and McMahon back on the wings, but with Nick Waugh in the middle. Not the biggest fan of that line. I do like Robbie in the top 6. And a fourth line of Steven Lorentz, Scott Lawton, and Calle Yarncroke. Sammy Blais, placed on waivers. My guess is he goes back to the Habs. Matthias Michelli and Dakota Joshua, the healthy scratches. That's a topic for another time, but summer up Brad, not so great. My guess is he's on the phone. So, the first period doesn't go the greatest, but the Leafs survive it. And when I say survive, I don't mean they were bad and they held on by the seat of their pants. I mean they got jobbed by the refs. Jobbed. And I try to save my bullets when it comes to that. I try not to be like, the officiating was particularly egregious in this game. I don't always succeed, but the Blue Jackets got 3 power plays in the first period. One was the third one, was perfectly legitimate, but we were all fed up by that point. The first one kind of trumped up charges on OEL, who has the worst whistle for any veteran in the entire league. And the second one, which was the penalty against Dakota Mermis, which was straight up made up nonsense. Now, sometimes you're going to disagree with calls, right? You're going to disagree. I thought this was one thing, you thought it was another. Okay. Sometimes a ref misses a call, and you know what? It's a fast game out there. You're going to miss calls. But the call against Mermis was a call concocted from thin air, from pure imagination. And you know what? After American Thanksgiving, once everyone starts playing a little Mariah Carey and that Christmas music, who doesn't get full of a little imagination and wonder? The magic of Christmas time. But I didn't want that in my stocking! I'll walk you through it. Here's what led to the first Blue Jackets power play. There were only 3 goals in this game. I feel like I can do this. Cole makes the save. The Blue Jackets get in his kitchen. Charlie Coyle cross-checks Oliver Ekman-Larsson in the chest. Ekman-Larsson punches him in the face. Now, you can't do either of those things. Miles Wood comes out of nowhere and grabs OEL around like the neck, jaw, whatever you want. So OEL punches him in the face. I will put my hand up and say I wholeheartedly endorse both punches to the face. It's a first period. It's a tie game. Someone cross-checks you, punch him in the face. If someone grabs you around the neck and face, in any context actually, not just hockey, punch him in the face. 2 wrongs don't make a right, but maybe next time they'll think about who they do the wrong to. Here were the penalty calls. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, 2 minutes, cross-checking Charlie Coyle. That's made up and wrong. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, 2 minutes for roughing Miles Wood. Valid. Miles Wood, 2 minutes for roughing Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And that's it. The Blue Jackets got a power play out of that. You could argue what Charlie Coyle did after the whistle happens all the time and isn't usually a penalty, which is more of a commentary on how normalized cross-checking is in the NHL because it is so professional. But even that, I'm like, okay, I disagree with the call, but I understand. The next Blue Jackets power play, I wish I could just show you the whole sequence, but I can't because the NHL is just flatly behind other leagues in North America. Maybe one day they'll catch up. I'm going to show you as many screen grabs as I can without the video getting flagged. If you look to the right of the screen there in front of the net, Dakota Mermis is basically wrestling with Zach Aston-Reese. While mid-wrestle, Zach Aston-Reese puts his arms around Dakota Mermis' legs, and Voronkov comes in and shoves down Mermis, who falls down because he's got a grown man wrapped around his legs. Here's the next screenshot. Dakota Mermis is that white helmet that you might see under a 200-plus pound man who has both hands on the back of his head. Oh, and just for good measure, as Dakota Mermis is trying to stand up, Zach Aston-Reese has him in basically a one-armed guillotine choke. That's another one, by the way. You're going to notice it more and more as you watch. The NHL basically doesn't call cross-checks anymore. The NHL also has a huge headlock problem. A lot of players are starting to do it. It's bad. Here are the penalties on that play. Dakota Mermis roughing Zachary Aston-Reese. I didn't know he was going by Zachary these days. Now, did the NHL make the refs available after the game? Well, no. They're sub-professional. They don't even, announce, a poorly typed out report at the end of the night. They're pathetic. But the players gotta take grief when they do a bad job, and they also gotta stand in front of the mic when they do a bad job. I think the refs in this game should at minimum take some grief for the bad job they did. ScoutingTheRefs.com puts up the refs for any given game on any given night. They're an incredible website. And Carter Sandlack and Chris Schlenker, you have to do a better job. You did a terrible job in this game. At best, the Oliver Ekman-Larsson call is simply not one that you make every single night. it's not. And there's no justification for the fairy tale nonsense that is the Dakota Mermis penalty that came without a corresponding Zach Aston Reese penalty. You made that up. No, I'm not out here looking for a makeup call, which, hilariously, for the rest of the game, there were only 2 more penalties, and they both went against Columbus. Blue Jackets fans should be mad, too. They were both legitimate penalties, but those were the only ones going on all night? Come on. Anyone could assume that they looked at the footage from the first period and went, oh, we did a terrible job. Let's try to make it up to the Leafs, and then they did. And if that's the case, then you had a bad game start to finish. It wasn't even just a bad first period. You stink. But of course, I'm just a guy sitting here and assuming because that's all any fan can do. Anyway. No goals in the first period because of the Leafs penalty kill. It was incredible. They got outshot by the Blue Jackets, but they also had 3 penalty kills to none, which is going to affect the period. And they come back in the second and they look much better. Outshooting the Blue Jackets 9-7, and would you look at that, the Leafs got the only power play of the second period. Otherwise, it would have been even up at even strength, 7-7 shots. The more this game wore on, the more it became a goalie duel. Zach Werenski would score a goal, or at least he thought, because they were a kilometer offside. Maybe not a kilometer, it was like a foot, but I don't know. In terms of offside challenges, that's pretty big. So that comes back. Joseph Woll is bailing the Leafs out time and time again. Jet Greaves at the other end, he's looking great, just like he did the last time. I'm telling you, I've been beating the drum on this guy for a while. He's the future in net for Columbus. Then we go to the third period, and this, to me, was the Leafs' one legitimately bad period of the game. Over the past 5 games, the results haven't exactly been there for the Leafs, but they've been playing better. The one thing that's been consistent, though, over those games, their third period's been awful. Like, they look better, and they fade. The Blue Jackets outshot the Leafs 14-6 in the third, and that's with the Leafs getting the only power play of the period. And then a breakdown in the offensive zone, and I felt sick for Max Domi, who I thought had a really good game. He goes to pass it to the point, it's broken up by Miles Wood. Zach Werenski picks it up, it's a 3-on-2 going the other way. I don't think anyone did anything wrong here. I think it was an odd man rush, and an elite player. He walks in, he knows he can beat Woll, he's already done it tonight, it just didn't count, and he rips it again. 1-0 Blue Jackets in the third. You have aspirations of 2 points dancing in your head, and now it looks like you're gonna get another goose egg. You have 6.5 minutes to rescue this thing. And so the second line gets out there. Easton Cowan, he's been having a great night. I think he leads the team in should-have-been goals, which is lovely in the moral victory game, but he's got 1 goal on the season. John Tavares is obviously a damn hero, and then there's William Nylander, who got yelled at by Craig Berube again because he was invisible heading into the sequence. He had 17 minutes and 1 shot on goal, but a magical play that was kind of not allowed happened in the corner. The Leafs go to get the puck, Zach Werenski is chasing the puck, and Easton Cowan stands in his way. Is that a pick? Yeah. You can go back and watch that game, and anyone who watched this game intently, the Blue Jackets did that all night. And I'm saying that as a compliment, because that's what good teams do, especially in the playoffs. They set picks, and the amount of times they pushed guys wide off the rush, especially to Matthew Nyes, they were doing like 1/4 interference calls all night long, and the standard set from the beginning of the game is they're not going to call it. Part of your job as an NHL player is to be like, what are they going to call? And if they tell you something's allowed, you should believe them. And if that thing is effective against your opponent, you should keep doing it. The Blue Jackets did it all night. I have no problem with Easton Cowan doing it here. He's just lucky he didn't get the rookie whistle. So the play goes on. John Tavares battles until he falls down like he always does. Gives it to William Nylander, who throws it in front to Easton Cowan, who squirts away from everyone. Yeah! The Cowboy! Easton Cowan ties it! Dude, that shot is nasty. I don't think you realize how nasty that shot is. I didn't when I watched it. The Leafs TikTok account posted an alternate angle from the far corner. Oh, does Cowan rip this thing, and it's far corner. I thought he beat Greaves short side. Oh, is this thing nasty, and he knows it. Huge celly. IntensitEaston is what it was. And this thing goes to overtime. Now, the Leafs did almost intentionally seem to try to screw it up. And Joseph Woll bailed them out many, many times. He was far and away the best player in this game. I haven't seen it yet, but he better have got the belt. And this thing goes to OT. Austin Matthews, I thought had a pretty good game in this one. He was getting his shots, he was getting his attempts, he, was getting back into it. He wasn't optimal. He's been what he's been for a while now, which is a pretty good, effective player, but we need you to be a superstar. Well, the Leafs have the puck in the dying seconds of overtime, and he hops over the bench. He attacks the net with a head of steam. And what's hilarious is I look at the assists on this goal, and it was Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Matthew Knies, which means Matthew Knies got one of my favorite things in hockey, and that's a bench assist. He gave it to OEL before going onto the bench, and Matthews subbed on, which means he got an assist while sitting on the bench. I love when that happens. It never happens, but I love it. Matthews attacks. Gets it to Willie. And it happens in a flash, and it's a bit of a breakdown from the Blue Jackets. But look what's set up here. The Blue Jackets are screwed right now. Utterly screwed. Willie has the puck, and if Greaves drifts a little, Willie's going to score, which he did. And you might be like, oh, Greaves, but if he doesn't drift a little, the reason he's drifting is Matthews has his stick in the air for the 1T, which Willie could give him at the blink of an eye. You gotta wonder if that was Matthews' plan the whole time, just hopping off the bench. Whatever it was, it worked. And the Leafs get the most valuable 2 points of the season so far. Now, I was gonna do questions, but this video's already run way too long. Producer Drew, I'm so sorry. I'm very excited to talk about a win for a change. So let me just say this. Movember. There's only a few days left. Gosh, this is disgusting. Please donate to my Movember page. Movember is raising funds for men's mental and physical health. Look at this. Look at this thing. This is not a beautiful mustache. I grew it for Movember, so please donate. Link in the description down below. That is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. The Leafs are 3 points out of a playoff spot. And, they're 1 week away from the playoffs. Which means they're 2 weeks away from the conference. 3 weeks away from the President's Trophy. The Avalanche can kick rocks. They can kick mountains also.